the new lore books.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about these just because I have a couple thoughts on them.
Avalorn and Kaz Algar. So I think Avalorn we've talked about before because that was in the previous one. So we've got the Observational Report on the Earthen, and basically it is, right, that they're like, this curse of flesh, what's going on there? And they're seeing that, there's no group in which this variance of, what happens at the degree of transformation is more easily observable than the Earthen, because, of course, the Earthen, some of them get a little fleshy. Some of them are dwarves. But what happens is, a particularly notable variant can be found in the Earthen contingent dispatched to investigate the fissure detected in sector AR 938. Okay.
Assault rifle 938.
I was definitely going to say 14 there.
Or augmented reality, yeah.
So these Earthen began to manifest behaviors analogous to those which would one day become apparent in the self-styled dwarves, despite them being separated by vast swaths of time and distance.
Hang on, what does that mean? We'll get into that.
Yeah, so while their behaviors, language, and demeanor may show many similarities, like they call the place Kaz Algar, you got to remember the Kaz there.
For Kaz Algar.
The Kaz is in reverence to Khaz'goroth, the Titan.
Yeah.
So at least when they called it that, they still were revering the Titans as like the makers in the same way that the dwarves sort of do. But it's that thing. They are like distant in space and time.
Yeah.
Yet,
but they're the same.
Similar behavior kind of comes up.
Yeah. So you get to think about anthropology and stuff.
Yeah, and then also, this is underground shit because it's in a fissure. Dragon Isle's underground. Yeah. Warning, must be kept flagged to develop the map until 10.1, which makes people... I think this was like a 5-player instance or something? But there is some Azeroth underground thing that happens anyway, and we're kind of then wondering, well... There's now a place called Kaz Algar that's in a fissure. Could this have anything to do with Dragon Isle's underground?
Yeah. And obviously then that fissure being, if this is Curse of Flesh, then the fissure must clearly then be something that Yogg-Saron got to.
Uh-huh.
And then you go, where's Yogg-Saron? Up in Ulduar. Where's close to Northrend? Dragon Isles. Oh. Because obviously he did reach pretty far down because he got to the World Tree in Grizzly. And there were Saronite mines in Howling Fjord, right?
Yeah.
So clearly he'd reached a little bit further, which means there's probably some deep fissure there in there. It's got Yogg pointing out of it. And is he alive or dead?
So here's the thing with Yogg as well. Galakrond happens because of like Yogg-Saron corrupted waters or whatever. And these waters are, waters, maybe that's a euphemism for something more deep, but we can just say waters for now. These, the living waters.
The Neptulon storyline's coming back, finally.
Fuck, that'd be good. No, but these like living waters, they are being... they're having order magic be pumped into them by the Halls of Infusion. So the Halls of Infusion, initially you think, it's just a Brita filter to get rid of this terrible old gold goop. Out. So, Yogg-Saron, Galakrond. Death. Because Galakrond, like the things he consumes and eats, they like fucking rise up in some weird way that's like not exactly the undeath that we know. And then people always wonder, well, that's the fucking Lich King. Why does he call himself the God of Death?
Yeah.
Was this the King of Death and God? What was this fucking mean? And then what's really fun is Blizzard around, was it during Cataclysm? They said that there were supposed to be more connections between the Lich King and Yogg-Saron than they really felt like they were able to successfully communicate in the game. I don't remember the precise wording, but it was from a blue post. So that's fairly interesting. But anyway, death. So this is starting to explain Yogg-Saron as the god of death with Galakrond, because that was something we were able to infer from the other Titan slabs. So that was all fairly interesting. But yeah, basically big business going into a fissure. And what are we going to find? What's up with these dwarves? Are these dwarves still going to be calling it Kaz Algar and on the side of like the Titan Forge and stuff? Or are they going to be maybe a little bit turned, maybe a little bit spicy?
Well, yeah, that's where I know you're going to that, so I'll cut you off at the pass and talk about something else here, because I think the way I want to talk about this is, and this is me thinking about like some to go back to all the way to the start of the stream, all the themes we're talking about in terms of how the lore is going to go on like a grander scale, stuff like that. These dwarves seem to be very much, hey, these dwarves are here the whole time, but they're kind of separate, but they're kind of the same but separate. Which to me is like that's the way the Onaran and the Kalimdor Center are the same but different. Same way the Iskar and the Tuskar are the same but different. And then the dwarves are the same but different. Maybe they'll add another rep, maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a normal rep for like the zone. But
Thune invaded Tanaris.
Oh.
Tanaris.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Shit.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's obviously
Brought up a good point.
yeah, it's a good theoretical point.
Yeah, yeah.
A good point you could use for speculation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I have a couple of things on this. And this is about how they could be the same but different. Obviously, they say physiologically different, but the same ideas. So the same ideas are coming from somewhere. So this is me coming to from two different perspectives, and that is the curse of flesh could have maybe kind of changed them a little bit into, because they're all like they have the same language. Obviously, Kaz, Algar, they're still clearly aligned with the Titans in some capacity. But I think that the Yogg's influence is probably a little bit more, because we always saw it as just, hey, your flesh now, get fucked. We you know. Yeah, you know, in the sense that, you know, you're a flesh now, we can kill you. You're a flesh now, you're mortal. The curse of mortality, immortal to mortal, that's a bad thing. Even though most stories now lean towards mortality being good because of all it brings, including this one. But what if it was a little bit less, not just a curse, because it's been called a curse of flesh.
By the Titans?
Yeah.
You were wrong.
So what if it was a gift? Because he calls it a gift, right? Obviously the gift being death, he gets to eat your soul, etc., etc. Where does the soul come from? Who knows? But the idea is that we're not just, or like I say we for the Titan creations. I'm thinking about humans and dwarves and stuff, even though the other races. Well, there's this idea of, what if the Titans are like, oh, you were us but corrupted, but you're okay now. What if we were infused with some kind of like almost cultural data, in the sense that we're actually kind of almost the ordered side is like the strict father who goes, you will do what you're made to do and what you're raised to do. And then the old god side is more the loving mother side, the yang side, more the yin yang idea of go be free. Go be free. Here's our contribution to who you are. Go and be a mixture of your parents. And then that gives us a little bit of, hey, we're the cosmic confluence. We Azerothians are a mixture of Titan and Void. And then that's kind of why we're going to be the best overall. And then Jared said, I'm beginning to get that feeling that Void and the Order turned up to Azeroth on the same mission. Which would then imply the Void and Order are fighting, but we've got the version that the Titans have told us, which is Void bad. Don't go near them, they're bad. And we're like, historical revisionists. Hello, post-war Japan.
Then we also do say, right, well, you know, you've got a head, 2 arms, a torso, 2 legs. I do as well. Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You have 85 mouths full of teeth and 900 eyes. And acidic goo.
Well, so that's where we now have our... Well, that actually works because we're made first by the thing. You could change it to... You could change the analogy to like a doting overprotective mother, and then a father who goes, fuck you, you're going to learn how to hunt and be free. The kind of God of War paradigm where it's like, this kid's fucking useless, what the hell? I guess I love him, let's go fight stuff. That would have been Yogg in this case. But there's also the... we literally had a Void God break out and start doing all the evil stuff we were told they would do. None of that was actually evil except the fact they tried to kill us. They just wanted to go to their own ends. And I'm not saying the Void or anything are good here. Yeah. I'm saying they're just opposite of the Titans, or maybe they're differently bad to how we think.
And definitely please remember the Titans have killed like countless billions of people.
Oh yeah, they literally...
remember what Algalon says.
Yeah, they were fully... Yeah.
they have wiped out many full worlds of civilized peoples, and they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, they didn't care for us whatsoever. They was like, yep, these are our plan. Goodbye if all goes fails.
It's like Wrath lore.
Yeah, but the second part of this, I think, is how oppressive influence can dampen and block inherent cultural attitudes. Which is to say, maybe when the Earthen were made, there's all this stuff in them. Because they're made from Azeroth goo or whatever else, shaped from the clay. Maybe they weren't completely allowed to be who they are because of the Titan influence. Which is, I say that is like how a kid doesn't always take after their parents, but like the kind of tiger mom idea in China, or just traditionally like conservative and prescriptive parents going no, like the America in the decades of that. I'm never good with which decade was which.
When Meatloaf plays Jack Black's fake dad in The Pick of Destiny.
Exactly. That's literally the one I was thinking
Yes.
of. Yeah. When Jack Black was growing up, everything was wrong, and the parents were like, "No, don't you
Basically,
Satan worshiping stuff."
Dio is an old god. Hail Dio.
Basically, yeah.
There we
so,
go.
yeah. So that's the thought I have of maybe we're freed by that by the Curse of Flesh, and it's not that the Curse of Flesh turned us into void beasts, because it didn't. Maybe the void influence just countered the order influence, and we became like normal, or free, or ourselves. And I think that's really a strong representation of American culture. I think that because that's, you see it in the 80s, right? With people growing up and like, no, I want to play heavy metal. I want to play heavy metal and call Jesus a bastard. That kind of stuff. And then you also see it in more modern times where people are like, you know, you've got like LGBT plus stuff going on. And that's very much, hey, this is this new inherent identity or true self that is being stifled by the outside.
Yeah, it's like
And you
it
see
was
that's a very
always
strong
there,
one.
but it was just like completely oppressed in the
Yeah,
past, so it
yeah.
couldn't actually be out there
Yeah.
as much.
Yeah, but also it's being like currently oppressed of like, here, this is who you are. But the order of society and the parental unit
Yeah.
is holding that down. That's like a pretty hardcore American story to write thematically. So you can see how that would actually be pretty interesting in terms of, like, to bring us into Warcraft terms, we're the children of Azeroth first. And then all these other things are trying to influence on us. But what happened with the Curse of Flesh was a lot of the Titan Forged were actually, you're going to be made of Azeroth clay and Azerite, but we're going to order you so you don't, step out of line. And then the Void comes and breaks that and goes, here's the gift. You're the way you're supposed to be. And then that feels like you're very much, what do you call it? Basically, that's the thing where I think the story is going in these ways thematically. And this is where you kind of go, well, is there a point to any of this fucking world story? What's going on? But I'm thinking from like the writer's perspective of what themes they're trying to do, what they're trying to go with the idea of identity, with what influences they're trying to pull into the game to go, hey, how are you supposed to feel as a human in World of Warcraft? And I think that's the kind of stuff. It's getting quite strong. Where void is possibility and order is order. Obviously, literally in the cosmology chart, light is there's one possibility. The void is infinite possibility. But order is very much you're stuck in this hardcore thing. Light is very much you're supposed to go this way because this is the only good way.
Yeah, like if
Order-
anyone's going to send you to fucking conversion therapy, it's the Titans.
Yeah, that's
It's like, we didn't plan this for you. Way you go.
yeah, that's the thing where it's
We
almost
need grandchildren. Stat.
Yeah, it's almost like if the light is hardcore religion, conservatism, whatever it is, then order would be society.
I mean, you could think about the Scarlet Crusade.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So yeah, well,
fucking yeah. I mean, I say big yikes, but obviously on purpose. That's the point.
yeah. But also, shouldn't the curse of flesh come from the life side of the equation? No, this is why. This is why I think it's interesting that the enabling death for an immortal is sometimes a gift. I think that's the idea they were originally going for conceptually, but it also gave us free will because we're now mortal, so mortality and free will kind of comes. So I think in the reframing of how order versus the void comes up, it feels to me like one cancelled the other out, and that's why we are now neutral. The Azerothian races are now neutral because we were started off by the Titans in a bad way, and then we were flicked around back to neutral.
Which means we're Eevee.
Which means we're Eevee.
We're Eevee.
Yeah, we were Umbreon. No, we were Espeon, and then we got Duskstoned back to Eevee. That doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. But let's not work. Let's not use that analogy very much. Pinocchio became a real boy. That's it. Anthony.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly it.
Oh yeah.
But I saw someone say, remember how they said this story wouldn't be around esoteric forces and be more about Azeroth? This isn't the story of World of Warcraft. This is a lore book in a dungeon that's kind of doing the whole background, the cosmological background. This is not the story of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's very interesting. It is part of the story, but it is not the story. It is not the A plot.
We like it. We can tease out themes.
It is background themes and teaser for the next thing that's going forward. Whenever we speak to the what do I call them? The Algar dwarves, I imagine they'll be called, if they haven't changed that name, the Algar dwarves, as opposed to the Modan dwarves of Cas Modan, then they'll likely just be like, there's some weird shit going on here, and there's a Primalist down here, and the Galakron's come back, and Yogg-Saron's here. Shit, let's sort this out.
Yeah,
They won't be sitting talking about, culturally, we feel like we are order and void. They're not going to say that. That's all stuff we're reading into.
So like when Adam said, what's the story then? I mean, the story then is some bad shit happens to the primal incarnates and they're going to try to do some plan, and that'll be bad for us. So we've got to go on a big adventure and we've got to fight them off, and we'll meet some people along the way and have fun adventures.
Yeah.
That's the story.
Yeah, like we said earlier, we haven't even seen a character arc from a major character arc for a major character story in Dragonflight yet, because that's all not on the beta, which is great.